and called each one. They were all white. He called Tank Scales, the owner of one of the safer and finer black honky tonks in the county. Tank's Tonk, as it was known. Lester was especially fond of the place. Tank was a client and often provided Jake with valuable and confidential information on various blacks, their dwellings, dealings, and whereabouts. Tank stopped by the office Tuesday morning on the way to the bank. "Have you seen Lester Haley in the past 2 weeks?" Jake asked. "Sure, spent several days at the place shooting pool, drinking beer. Went back to Chicago last weekend, I heard. Must have. I didn't see him all weekend." "Who was he with?" Himself, mostly." "What about Iris?" "Yeah, he brung her a couple of times when Henry was out of town. Makes me nervous when he brings her. Henry's a bad dude. He'd cut them both in. He knew they's dating. They have been doing it for 10 years, Tank." "Yeah, she got 2 kids by Lester. Everybody knows it. But Henry, poor old Henry, he'll find out one day and you'll have another murder case." "Listen, Tank, can you talk to Iris?" "She don't come in too often." "That's not what I asked. I need Lester's phone number in Chicago. I figured Iris knows it." "I'm sure she does. I think he sends her money. Can you get it for me? I need to talk to Lester." "Sure, Jake. If she's got it, I'll get it." By Wednesday, Jake's office had returned to normal. Clients began to reappear. Ethel was especially sweet, or as sweet as possible for a cranky old nag. He went through the motions of practicing law, but the pain showed. He skipped the coffee shop every morning and avoided the courthouse by making Ethel do the filing or checking or whatever business required his presence across the street. He was embarrassed, humiliated, and troubled. It was difficult to concentrate on other cases. He contemplated a long vacation, but couldn't afford it. Money was tight, and he was not motivated to work. He spent most of his time in his office doing little but watching the courthouse and the town square below. He dwelt on Carol Lee, sitting in his cell a few blocks away, and asked himself 1,000 times why he had been betrayed. He had pushed too hard for money and forgot there were other lawyers willing to take the case for free. He hated Marcia Fiske. He recalled the many times he had seen paraded in and out of Memphis courtrooms, proclaiming the innocence and mistreatment of his pitiful, oppressed clients, dope dealers, pimps, politicians, and slimy corporate thugs, all guilty, all deserving of long prison terms or perhaps even death. He was a Yankee with an obnoxious twang from somewhere in the upper Midwest. It would irritate anybody south of Memphis. An accomplished actor, he would look directly into the cameras and whine. "My client has been horribly abused by the Memphis police." Jake had seen it a dozen times. "My client is completely, totally would you stop? Obviously innocent. He should not be on trial. My client is a model citizen, a taxpayer. What about his 4 proper convictions for extortion?
Extortion?
Yeah. He was framed by the FBI, set up by the government. Besides, he's paid his debt. He's innocent this time." Jake hated him, and to his recollection, he had lost as many as he had won. By Wednesday afternoon, Marsh Fiske had not been seen in Clayton. Ozzie promised to notify Jake if he showed up at the jail. Circuit Court would be in session until Friday, and it would be respectful to meet briefing with Judge Noose and explain the circumstances of his departure from the case. His Honor was presiding over a civil case, and there was a good chance Buckley would be absent. He had to be absent. He could not be seen or heard. News usually recessed for 10 minutes around 3:30, and precisely at that time Jake entered chambers through the side door. He had not been seen. He sat patiently by the window waiting for Ichabod to descend from the bench and stagger into the room. 5 minutes later, the door flung open and His Honor walked in. "Jake, how are you?" he asked. "Fine, Judge. Can I have a minute?" Jake asked as he closed the door. "Sure, sit down. What's on your mind?" News removed his robe, threw it over a chair, and lay on top of the desk, knocking off books, files, and the telephone in the process. Once his gawky frame had ceased moving, he slowly folded his hands over his stomach, closed his eyes, and breathed deeply. "It's my back, Jake. My doctor tells me to rest on a hard surface when possible." "Sure, Judge. Should I leave?" No. What's on your mind?" "The Haley case." "I thought so. I saw your motion. Found a new lawyer, huh?" "Yes, sir. I had no idea it was coming. I expected to try the case in July. You owe no apologies, Jake. The motion to withdraw will be granted. It's not your fault. Happens all the time. Who's the new guy?" "Marshall Fiskey." "Yes, sir. From Memphis." "With a name like that, he should be a hit in Ford County." "Yes, sir. Almost as bad as News," thought Jake. He had no Mississippi license, Jake explained helpfully. "That's interesting. Is he familiar with our procedure?" "I'm not sure he's even tried a case in Mississippi. He told me he only associates a local boy when he's out in the country. That's what he said." "Well, he'd better associate if he comes into my court. I've had some bad experience with out-of-state attorneys, especially from Memphis." "Yes, sir." News was breathing harder, and Jake decided to leave. "Judge, I need to go. If I don't see you in July, I'll see you during the August term of court. Take care of your back." "Thanks, Jake. Take care." Jake almost made it to the rear door on the small office when the main door from the courtroom opened and the Honorable L. Winston Waterhouse and another hatchet man from the Sylvan firm strutted into chambers. "Well, hello, Jake," Waterhouse announced. "You know K. Peter Otter, our newest associate. Nice to meet you, K. Potter." "Peter," replied Jake. "Are you interrupting anything?" "No, I was just leaving. Judge is resting his back, and I was on my way out." "Sit down, gentlemen," News said. Waterhouse smelled blood. "Say, Jake, I'm sure Walter Sullivan has informed you that our firm will serve a local counsel for Carl Lee Haley." "I have heard. I'm sorry it happened to you. Your grief is overwhelming. It does present an interesting case for our firm. We don't get too many criminal cases, you know." "I know," Jake said, looking for a hole to crawl in. "I need to run. Nice chatting with you, L. Winston. Nice meeting you. Okay, Peter. Tell J. Walter and F. Robert and all the boys I said hello." Jake slid out of the rear door on the courthouse and cursed himself for showing his face where he could get it slapped. He ran to his office. "Has Tank Scales called?" he asked Ethel as he started up the stairs. "No, but Mr. Buckley is waiting." Jake stopped on the first step. "Waiting where?" he asked without moving his jaws. "Upstairs, in your office." He walked slowly to her desk and leaned across, still within inches of her face. He had sinned, and she knew it. He glared at her fiercely. "I didn't..."
No, it's not. Yeah, it is. That's the bell. No, it's not. Nice try. All right, stop.
Thank the Lord.
All right, get to the last page. You're not done yet. What page? 191.
I'm not going to. I'm trying to read.